Phillips Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, John Knott, and I have alongside with me CJ, my analyst for today, and we'll be discussing several topics, including the USA men's basketball team with the Olympics just getting started. Also, we'll have a talk about the NFL, what teams are shaping up in the NFC East as well as the AFC East, and we'll also dive into a little bit of college football as well as fantasy football topics, which are coming up pretty soon. Most leagues are already getting started and starting their draft dates and getting everything set for that. So we'll dive into that as well. But first off, we'll go ahead and go to CJ with the first question, which is this year's Olympic team. The question is, will the USA men's basketball team win gold this year in the Olympics? What do you got for that, CJ?
For this year, they look like they're on the path to get the goal. Do I think they'll win gold? They damn sure expect it to win it with the lineup that they have. I think they will. If there's any chance that they'll lose, it'll probably be the actual game, the championship game, the last game. They've had some close calls, some close games where the media angle is like, oh yeah, LeBron put in this last bucket, but that team still had seconds on the clock, and they actually missed. I think it was one game they missed the layup that would have tied it and took it into overtime. So they've had 2 or 3 games that was too close for comfort against certain teams. So I'm expecting them to do better. They have a team full of athletes, of ballers. It shouldn't even be this close. It shouldn't be. And so everybody talk about the dream team and stuff like that. They blew their teams out, blew them out the water. It wasn't even close. It wasn't no competition. I can't say that. Team USA, yeah, they haven't lost, but they had too many games that was just too close to call. So, but they should get gold. Like I said, if they lose, it'll be the last game.
Okay, so you still see them winning gold. I agree as well. I do think they'll win gold. The one thing that I can notice just from the jump, the importance of having Kevin Durant, which we saw today. The score, I mean, they won, was 84 to 110. So you could tell the difference of having him, and he actually came off the bench. Him being in the game for only, he had 23 points in 17 minutes off the bench. He had an immediate impact. Jokic, he had like 20 points, but it still wasn't intact. It wasn't close. You had our guys in double figures. LeBron continuing to be LeBron. KD doing what he does. Steph Curry, he didn't have to do what he does at Golden State. He's on a squad with a whole bunch of other all-stars, superstars. So I think as long as they continue to doing what they're doing now, barring no injuries come about, I think they'll be better off. Now, I want to ask this question as a follow-up to the original question. And how much do you think of it, them winning gold or being better, is regarding Steve Kerr?
Mm,
Do you think it has a lot to do with it, or do you think it has something to do with it?
I'm gonna say, I mean, coaching is a part of it too. Coaching. I feel like with this group right here, I feel like it has a smaller impact.
Okay.
You have a lot of great talent on that team. So Steve Kerr can come up with a concept. Most of the concepts now is drive and kick. He's not, and it's too hard to try to implement a
An actual
implement
offense to run.
an actual offense that they can run.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like his impact is just to make sure that these guys try their best to get in sync, and
Mm-hmm.
he trying to find the best team that he could put out there on the court. So then so each person's talent can show and can flourish. Now I'm thinking, like you said, some people wouldn't feel like, oh, Kevin Durant coming off the bench is key. But
Right.
that probably is going to be key for some of them games. You know what I'm saying? Injury based. Booker coming off the bench has been underrated. They said Booker has been a consistent figure coming off the bench.
Right.
So I feel like his coaching is just going to be minimal there. It just got too much talent out there, or at least for this year, for them not to come back with the goal. If they come back without the goal, I'm not even going to say it's coaching. It's going to be lack of effort because of the players that are on that team.
I would agree. The one thing I've definitely noticed in, you know, versus these guys playing like they're playing with back in the States where they have the team and you got, Anthony Edwards, who's the leader of the Minnesota Timberwolves. These guys can actually kind of pick and choose based off of matchups. So the game they played today, you're playing Jokic. Jokic is their key guy. And because the defense was, around him some more so, not to just take him all the way out because they couldn't take him all the way out, but to limit him limits their whole team because he does so much with passing, rebounds, everything in that regard. So I think that, um, yeah, Curry will probably be limited, but as long as the players are focused, and that's the main thing, focus, having your focus, keeping it, and for all the Olympic game, which is 40 minutes, they have 4 10-minute quarters. So uh, I would say if they continue to do that, keep the focus, and listening to the things and the key points that Kurt brings to them after each game, I think they'd be fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go on to the next topic or the next question, and that question is in regards to with the NFL, and the question is, who wins the NFC East this year for the NFL in that group in that division? Who do you have for that for your winner out the East NFC East?
Yeah, NFC East is where, you know what I'm saying, that's where I hang my crown at. That's where my team is, the Commanders. For for today's question and for the sake of argument, it's hands down going to be Philly for the time being. Philly has shown that they are still the powerhouse with Jalen. Jalen may not be the best quarterback out that division, but he's definitely been the most consistent and got the most upside. Dak Prescott, for whatever reason, and what Dallas got going on, is just not there. But it's not clicking. But with Philly, Jalen Hurts is that commander of that offense with the now with the running game. You got Saquon Barkley back over there now. The wide receivers is just it's tough to match, and then their defense is coming along and staying consistent and steady. They're replacing old talent with new talent, and it's integrating pretty well. So for me, it's gonna be Philly for that division. I wish I could sit there and say, hey, the Commanders are coming around the corner, but we still got some ways to go. We still gotta find our quarterback, see what it's gonna be like. I can't even say the Giants because the Giants, to me, is they just they let go of Saquon. So you let go of Saquon for whatever, and you let your rivals get them. So I mean, it says enough about that organization. So we'll
Listen,
see
so
how it plays out. But I say Philly easy.
I mean, so when you look around the whole league of the NFC East, I mean, you have the Dallas Cowboys, you got the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, and Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders have a new head coach, which is not his first rodeo. This is his second time around as a head coach after coaching Atlanta Falcons and actually taking them to the Super Bowl, leading them to the Super Bowl. That was the one where they lost against the New England Patriots. Now, the team that stands out to me that's probably going to suffer the most is, I would say, Dallas. Um, Dallas right now. I mean, if people have been paying attention, what's going on with the press conference with Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott, it just seems like it's a whole big firestorm waiting to happen, where it's just a step away, a game away, a few games away, where somebody might be getting let go, but definitely not going to be kept after this season. The way it's going, um, I feel that they will probably offensively. I mean, you don't have Pollard. Uh, I mean, you have Rico Dowdle, I think, still, and you had a pickup last year. I don't see anybody just picking the low for them on the running game. CD Lamb is waiting for his money, which I'm pretty sure they'll pretty much get to him at some point in time. So
You know
Dallas,
he
they
not
without a
you.
defensive
You
coordinator,
know he ain't showing up to camp, right?
right? He's not showing up at camp. That's expected though for a receiver, knowing that he's waiting on his contract to be finished. That's understandable, but it still has an effect on your offense and how things flow when you first start the season, because most of those guys will not play in the preseason, so you don't have any type of fluidity where you can have some type of startup to your game for this as the season gets started. New York
Mm.
Giants, um, Saquon was the offense for the most part. He was the offense starter. I mean, like, to get everything going with the run game and then play action off of it. I don't even see that going on with New York Giants, so I couldn't say them. And then the Washington Commanders. It all depends on how well, and I know that's your team, but it all depends on how well they can listen to the coach, buy into what he's selling, and then just let the chips fall where they may. If you doing the little things is what's going to stand out. They're doing the little things well in games when they're close. Because I think if they can get into a fourth quarter and they got a close game, whether it's 3 points or 4 points, you have a shot, right? So,
Hmm.
but I still agree with you at the end of the day. Philadelphia Eagles should be the team to win the NFC East. It's not even close, and it's due to the fact of they have the most consistency. They still have the same head coach, some of the same key coordinators, coaches that's been around there. The system is in place. The offense has been in place. How they play defense is in place. All they need to do now is, continue to keep themselves healthy. And after the end of the day, they should be able to win games in that division. The only one I see, I mean, like we said, it's two teams to me. Who's going to show up, Dallas or Washington, before New York? So, me personally, I got the Eagles, and we'll see how far they can go this year out the East. Question number 3. Who wins the AFC East this year? I'll start this one off. I've got this year the Miami Dolphins, and that's going to be due to the upgrade at tight end with Jonnu Smith. They did add Odell Beckham Jr. They picked up Chop Robson in the draft. He's a linebacker out of Penn State. Defense coordinator wise, they did bring Anthony Weaver, who comes in as a new defensive coordinator, and this is going to be his 20th season being a part of the NFL. But the main reason why I picked the Miami Dolphins to win out of that division that they're in is due to the fact that you have Waddle, you have Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham Jr. You're not asking him to do a whole lot. Get yourself healthy first. But Jonnu Smith to me is a factor out of the tight end position. A lot of people, if they remember, he played at Tennessee Titans, and that was when the head coach who was there for the Atlanta Falcons last year. He was the offensive coordinator when he was there with the Tennessee Titans at that point in time when he started off his career, and he did well. Now he went to New England and then, kind of bounced around a little bit, but I really feel that he's going to be a key factor for them in that offense that we haven't even seen yet. And you have Tua that has signed a major contract for them, the largest in their history. Um, I think that with that being said, if all of those guys on the offense can just continue to gel, get better than the offense, learn the playbook even more going into year 2 and 3 for some of them. They're gonna be fine. The defense, once the defense picks up and goes off, I really do like Chop Robinson out of Penn State at linebacker. You still got Jalen Phillips. They got some guys down there in Miami that can still get after quarterbacks, and that's what I think I like the most on the defensive side of the ball. Not to mention they still got Jalen Ramsey. So they definitely have some Pro Bowlers on that side that can get them through. And because of the fact that Buffalo Bills, you lose Stephon Diggs, I can't pick you. I'm sorry. I can't pick you to win the East. New England Patriots got a new coach, and they're starting something totally fresh without Bill Belichick. So and leaving with the Jets. Now, I could have easily went with the Jets, but I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to look like. How much has he lost? We know he can throw the ball. We know he's one of the greatest to throw the ball, but it's still you got to go out there and play the game. It's easy to say on paper that you're going to win, but you got to go show it. So I've got my pick in the Dolphins. What do you say about it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, when you look at that whole division has been turned upside down, especially with Belichick leaving, Brady leaving. You know, it changed from being, all right, the Patriots got this division hands down to over the years, Bills then came along, Dolphins then came along, and now the Jets have come along. The Patriots right now are the worst team in that division. No coach, still don't have a quarterback. Um,
Jacoby
you still,
Brissett, basically, who's normally plays a backup, is their quarterback now.
yeah. So you, there's no consistency there, and it probably won't be none for a while. Um, then you have, then you got the Bills. Bills usually have a solid defense, but it came on, and their offense came off the strength of they moved as far as Josh Allen went, and sometimes Allen does too much. I think too much is on his shoulders. He still needs receivers to throw to. So for him to lose Diggs, and for the offense is, hey, we got to see what y'all going to do now. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that number one, that particular number one, so you got to show up and show out. You got to prove that you're the Bills again. So now you're the third best team. Second best team, the Jets. The Jets was premier favorite in that division until Aaron Rodgers went down at the very beginning of the season last year. So they're going to be the wild card. As it stands right now, the Dolphins are the best team. They showed the consistency. They're there. Like I said, they got Odell. They got Tyreek Hill. As long as Tua is healthy and stays upright, he shows that he can be. He shows that he can be a threat. So yeah, the Dolphins in their coach is effective. The coaching he does there, them guys listen. And they buy in. So for like the last 2-3 years, they've been there. So I have to give the Dolphins. I agree with you. The Dolphins are the best team, and I did pick them coming out that division. The Jets are, how close are the Jets is going to depend on Aaron Rodgers. It's solely Aaron Rodgers. A lot of the games they lost last year was solely quarterback play. Um, if he come out there and be MVP Aaron Rodgers, oh man, that division going to the Jets. If he comes out MVP Aaron Rodgers, he's got weapons. He's going to throw them guys open. A lot of those, like I said, a lot of the Jets' losses was due to the quarterback missing the receivers. It wasn't that the plays weren't good. The quarterback overthrew a lot of those players. So they got a good defense. good wide receivers. They got a good running game. I think they got Dalvin Cook over there too, or one of the Cooks over there. So I mean, it is just a solid. They're solid all around. Just at quarterback is where they have the issue.
So
So
with the running backs, they have Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and Israel Abenikanda that came out of Minnesota.
okay. So so yeah, the only thing is, like I said, they are just weak at quarterback. So um, I think, like I said, we'll go with the Dolphins. Dolphins is a solid pick. We'll go from there, and we'll see what the Jets do in the midst of the season, the first half of the season.
Gotcha. All right, so we'll go with that. Go pivot to our fourth question, which is in with the college football. The question is, what college football team do you have as an early favorite to win the playoffs next season? Like I said, this is just early, so because we haven't seen a game yet, and there's been a lot of moving parts with that. But who do you have as your early favorite?
Early favorite, and I hate to say this too, I really do. Early favorite, from what I'm seeing across the board
Mm-hmm.
as of now, would be Georgia.
Okay.
Um, I mean, is it Kirby Smart? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying. He trying coach up under Nick. He knows what Nick does. He knows what the game. He knows what the game involves in order to win to get there. He's built a powerhouse there just like Nick did. Alabama lost Nick. We don't know how they're gonna look without him. You muted.
So basically, I would say with that group, yes, yeah, Georgia is a good. It's the early favorite. That's what most people are putting their money on right now. That they would win. Um, the only thing I would say with that in regards to that is out the SEC. Let's look at their schedule, and they do have a pretty tough schedule. Now, my pick. Now, you said Georgia, but my pick is a little different. I've got Texas. I got Texas to win, and that's basically due to the fact that last year they were one play away from the championship game a year ago, facing Washington. And with that, this is probably the deepest team, and this is coming out of um, the SEC media days. This is probably Steve Sarkisian's deepest team he's had since he's been with Texas since he got there. So, with that being said, they're right there. They're not far off. Um,
Sunships.
and let me look at the actual schedule for Georgia Bulldogs, and I'll actually tell you who they play and who they face as far as starting off the season. They start off the gate with Clemson. Then they play it's not a major game after that on the 7th. They're at Kentucky, at Alabama on September 28th. They play Auburn at home. They play Mississippi State at home. Then they go to at Texas. Then they got a neutral field alignment with Florida at Ole Miss, and a lot of people I think are sleeping on Ole Miss. Then they play Tennessee at home, Massachusetts in the middle, and then they have Georgia Tech to end out the year as their rivalry game. So that game right there in itself, I mean, or for that schedule for them, they do have some tough games. However, if anybody's to withstand it, I would say Georgia. Yeah, that's one of the favorable picks. But from what I'm seeing and what Steve Sarkisian is doing, you have Quinn Ewers who's solid in his offense. He's bringing a lot of people back. He's got a lot of transfers on his squad that from last year that came from either Alabama or other good playmakers. I'm thinking about Isaiah Bond, who caught that pass in the Iron Bowl in that corner. He's on that team. He's got Black, the tight end from Alabama. He moved over from Alabama and is on Texas team. So that's who I got, man. I got Texas Longhorns through and through. And looks like we got a special guest is coming on the call. So I don't know how much you've heard about it, the call, Amon, but you can chime in. The question is, who do you have for your early favorite for college football?
Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Early favorite? Not bad,
Yes.
man. To be honest with you, it's been a little chaotic with me, but I go with Georgia for the time being. I ain't really had chances to like watch other teams and like the portal and all that. So I would go with Georgia. I know it won't be Michigan. I do know that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say Georgia, man. I'm gonna just because I'm just they're a stacked team, but just because of all the reasons you said though, Texas actually got Texas is in SEC this year. They start playing. So are they in the West or the East?
There's no more. There's no more of that. There's no more East to
Is
West.
no more? Oh, it's not okay. I was shoot. So that's playing.
And I can tell you who Texas plays if that helps you. Their schedule lines up like this. They start off Colorado State, then they go at Michigan on the 7th of September. University of Texas.
Win.
Let me see. Texas, I think it's the Texas Roadrunners.
Huh?
ULM, Mississippi State, neutral game. You got the Red River rivalry still.
Right.
Oklahoma. Then they play Georgia. Then they're at Vandy versus Florida, at Arkansas versus Kentucky, and then they end the year out with the old rivalry at Texas A&M.
You know what? Just based off that record, I'll probably go with Texas. I'll take the record off the schedule. I'll go with Texas. Just from what you told me, because
I truly only see them lose if they lose in the game. That's me looking at it. If they lose in the game, it'll be Georgia. But that's it. With the one loss, though, you're still going to be highly ranked if you beat everybody else, and you're going to get into the SEC championship game, which you have another shot to play them again and then possibly beat them. So, yeah.
I mean, so yeah, at the moment it's between Texas and Georgia, but I mean, I'll say right now at the moment, I'll say Georgia at the moment. Okay. Like I hadn't really like looked at the schedules. I hadn't looked at who has transferred because I just ain't had time. But yeah, so I'm gonna say Georgia. I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna say Georgia. Kirby Smart. I mean, Georgia. He's a new Nick Saban, so to speak. He's gonna pretty much be in there every single year, or at least in the contention.
Right.
Yeah. Now the only problem with Georgia. Now they do have a problem. The problem with the SEC is that everybody in the SEC plays against each other. We're all they're powerhouses. So you have the potential that Georgia can potentially slip to a Mississippi, can slip to an Auburn, or you know what I'm saying? They could easily lose to one of those teams. So the other team and Texas and threw their hat in there, so they're equally liable. So the team that this is going, I ain't gonna say a dark horse, but I see them coming back strong. Is don't forget Ohio State. I mean, after they didn't got they head rocked for the last 2-3 years by Michigan and Harbaugh just left. Oh yeah, they about to come back with a vengeance. And that division ain't that strong, you know what I'm saying? So they ain't really got nobody to go against for real.
The main things for them though is we got the 12-team playoffs. So now it's going to get a little harder, and I'm gonna tell you where it gets harder. You're not only playing your 12 games in your league, then you play your championship game. Then you got to go, if you're not one of the best teams, you don't get the bye week or whatever like that. You have to go ahead and play again and stay alive each week, which the more games you play, some of your key players could get injured, and that could derail your whole season at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So that's really going to be the biggest factor, I think, for these guys, because they're playing a lot more games that they're not used to. Even if for the ones that get into they don't have to play in the championship game, they just got in because they're ranked in there, and then after the fact, you got to go fight or play one of those big teams. So it's not going to be a
And
big
truthfully,
help
for
here.
me, them players in college, they ain't got a leg to stand on. I don't want to hear no, oh, we got to play more games because y'all getting NIL deals now.
They do.
So you can't sit here and complain about, we getting hurt up here playing. Nah, you getting paid too. So hey, tough it up.
I think now with that whole NIL thing, a lot of people gonna like sit out games, sit out seasons, because they don't want to risk getting hurt or risk their draft stock dropping if they have a bad season. So I think I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like get your money, but it's kind of like maybe it just seems like it's turning like college basketball. Like people don't really watch college basketball anymore. It's kind of like okay, they're gonna stay for a year and they're gonna deal. Or people get like I'm gonna use Colorado for example. People hate Colorado, and I'm thinking like you all hate them because of certain like the coach and certain players. But in actuality, I don't expect Colorado to win 4 games. To be honest with you, if I'm just being real. But I just feel like at the end of the day, it's gonna be. It's gonna be more so about me, myself, not in the team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I guess we'll find out. We'll see.
All right.
But back to CJ point, Ohio State. That's easy division to win now.
Yeah.
Like especially with that dude named Michigan State, Mr. Freaky, hey coach. That man, that fat dude, I can't think. Hey, he not done what he done. Michigan State probably had a chance, but it is what it is. I can't think that dude's name now. Mel Tucker, isn't his name?
Mel Tucker, yes. Mel Tucker.
So, he messed it up with his libido. I'm gonna keep it PG.
All right. Yeah, he definitely and we'll see. That's still an ongoing story. We'll see what comes out on the light of that into that tunnel later on. He says he defending himself. We'll see. We'll see. All right, and last question for the day. This one is a fun question for those that like fantasy football. And the question is, and we'll dive into it. What worked well for you in the past few years while you're doing your draft? Or what worked well for you last year that might help this year? And this is going to be useful tips for anybody that's starting up fantasy football. If you've never played it before, these are just our tips on what we feel like has helped us in the past. Ahmad, I'll start with you on this one. What type of tips would you give out any person that's newcomers?
I'd say draft a skill position first, regardless if it's running back, quarterback, wide receiver, just whoever most skillful person that year, you draft them. And also a kicker. Don't underestimate the kickers, because I got a lot of points from kickers in the past. Now, last year, my fatal mistake was I drafted Rodgers. He got hurt in 10 seconds. My season went on toilet. I wasn't last in our fantasy league, but I was nowhere near first either. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
But
when did you pick up Rodgers? What
no,
round do you remember?
the draft.
No, I'm saying what round did you pick him up?
First round. He was the first player I picked.
Okay, you picked up Rodgers in the first round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So I was just like, so man, I was like, my season was doomed from the beginning. But
so you're basically telling them, don't go after a quarterback the first round. Wait, get your skillful player first.
Yeah, go for Stephon Diggs or Jamar Chase or somebody. But if you do get a quarterback, make sure it's like Mahomes or Trevor Lawrence or somebody who's gonna put up a whole bunch of like yards. Don't draft Kirk Cousins or somebody. But get you a kicker too.
All right. Yeah. All right. What do you got, CJ? What's your helpful tips? Since you've been playing for a
while? For one, make sure that I'll wait. If you're getting into it, I'll wait to do your draft. Whatever team or league you're going to go with, wait until that just before that last preseason game, and before you start to do your draft, so you can figure out who going where, who doing what. Mm-hmm. You've had players like Mom was talking about. Yeah, you might not find out until the first game of the season But there was some changes. Like I remember one year, who was it? Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson was supposed to be the number one running back, or
Mhm.
when he was with the Vikings,
Mhm.
and he got charged with that what you call it. Now some people had already did they draft. They did they draft by time before the charge actually came out, and it was like, hey, he can't play the season, and
Mhm.
boom, you left with a dud. Some people had already drafted him and already left with a dud. You got to also pay attention and see who, Mark talking about too, skill positions. CD Lamb, we just said CD Lamb is sitting out right now. Now, to prove his case, is he gonna sit out the first game of the season, second game of the season? You don't know, but you got to take that into account because some players have done that to prove a point that I'm gonna sit out and not play. So I would say definitely wait. Definitely wait. Check up on your news on players, on skill position players, and see what's viable and stuff. Because to me, that's the easy. That's as a new person coming in, you'll be like, hey man, why ain't they picking up this player? And they skipping over him. They skipping over him. But if it's an auto pick, they got to get drafted though. But you be like, hey, no man, I got me a good man. Nah, you don't know. He might be down with an injury and something, and then you just picked up a bad player. Now you got to try and replace him. So
All right, so I'll
definitely
close it
say,
out with this. My last few years, I've done pretty well with it, and it's no secret strategy. Um, I actually was learning from some other people about it. But what I've learned is if you depending on where you pick, if you pick later in the draft at like 9 or 10, I would say go after, if you're picking 10, for example, because I've done it in the last 2 years, I've always started out with two top 10 receivers. I get both of them in that round. I wait till it comes back around again because you have the snake draft if you're doing ESPN fantasy. And then I'll get my running back. Give me one starter that's a real like top 15 running back because you'll still have one at that spot. And then after you get your next pick, then go after quarterback because by the time they come back around, the good ones will be gone. But that strategy has worked for me last 3 years. Um, I won one league last year, and I was, I think, third place in another league last year. And the year before that, I actually tied for second because the game that DeMar Hamlin got injured in, the
mm-hmm.
game was stopped. So I had Stephon Diggs and I had somebody else in that game, but I was pretty sure I was going to win that game, but we'll never know. So we tied that league because we couldn't end on a championship game ending like that. And that was kind of crazy. The championship game ended with that play when he went down. So, but it was definitely understandable. We're thankful that the man did live and everything's still well for him now. But those are my tips. That's the show for today. If you like us, please subscribe to us. If you have any comments, please list them below. We'll take all opinions. And if you want to chime in at any time, um, give us a call, give us a text message at least or a note. We'll see about setting that up for you in the future. All right. And so if no other comments, that's the end of the show for today. You guys be blessed.